comes a time when gamers usually have to go into the realm of magazines. I don't know if for nostalgic sake or maybe the internet is just too broad and open and they want something a little simpler. So, when you have your choice of video game magazines, which ones can you go to? Well, not many these days. Unfortunately, favorite Nintendo Power is no longer functioning because of, well, reasons. And EGM and all the other ones might not be doing as well as we remember. However, one has been going on. Not that people care, because the moment I mention the name, I lose you immediately. And that would be Game Informer. You know, that one magazine that nobody really cares about and pretty much only serves to give you information based on a month ago. Because that's pretty much all Game Informer has ever done. It gives you ludicrous news a month late and nobody cares. Then you get the review section out of it, which is, I think, the best part about the magazine because it's so ludicrous. It's almost as if these guys don't know what they're doing. Like, they'll play a game, depending on what kind of game it is, for roughly 30 minutes, think they got everything out of it, and proceed to give you, like, a well-thought-out review of it. Maybe some of them do. I'm not going to pretend that the same writer, maybe he is on every single one. But he might be. So, this review had to do with Tales of Zestiria, which by now, many of you guys know I did a review on myself and got it out yesterday. A month late. Also a month late. But I think mine was a little bit more thought out. And of course, welcome back to the Brotherhood of Gaming podcast. I'm your host, William Morris, and we got Gene here with us, as usual. Now, of course, I guess it was inevitable that Game Informer would do a review of Tales of Zestiria. Under normal circumstances, I don't care. And honestly, I still don't. But I thought it'd be fun to go over it with you guys and kind of just think it out. Like, see exactly how much thought they really put into this. Now, first of all, they gave the game pretty much... they did. They gave Tales of Zestiria a 6.5 out of 10, I assume. Now, considering how the fan base has been lately, not an entirely off idea. Like I said in the review, some fans may hate Zestiria because of arbitrary or legit reasons, and so on. Zestiria is kind of an interesting egg in itself. But yeah, Game Informer gives it a 6.5. And 2 pages to the right, should you... 3 pages. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. You know, the game that has glitches galore. The game that is rushed every year to meet a demand that, I don't know, are there even really, like, Assassin's Creed fans that are still on board anymore? I mean, there must be, right? 9. 9 out of 10. Even better. Call of Duty, Black Ops 3. 9. NBA 2K16, 9. Noticing a pattern here. But then again, maybe they're right. I haven't exactly played a Call of Duty game since the Wii. I think that one was like World at War or something. Knife fighting was fun. Nate, it kind of got me hooked on that one. But yeah, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Dude, day 1 the game was out. There were compilation videos of glitches, and my god, they were just as hilarious as they were in Unity. I don't know if there were any face removal ones, but glitches were still very, very present. So yeah, in short, pretty much AAA games, as expected, got the highest review scores despite fan outcry. So, for Gene, the Tales of Zestiria review was especially insulting, because not only was it bad that they gave a Tales game a low score based on plausible prejudices towards Japanese games. And trust me, it gets really weird when they get to Fatal Frame. But then they had to go and make it personal. By insulting, I think, Gene's second favorite Tales game. So yeah, I'm going to take the time out right now to read you the review. And let's pick apart this review. Okay, first of all, Game Informer gives like their little quips. The concept. It goes back to the series' roots with a more traditional setting and reinvents the fun action battle system. Maybe. Oh, goes back to the series' roots? Debatable. I doubt it.
At what point in that whole gameplay was it going back to the roots?
I know, like, isn't the whole point of the series kind of growing?
Anyway.
Yeah, whatever. Graphics, even with the environments to detail and lighting, the graphics feel dated and unnatural. That's the opposite of what I said. Mm-hmm. Like, they used them well. I mean, they used JPEG images in far-off distances.
Well, because it's not Final Fantasy.
Oh.
No, you're wrong. Final Fantasy.
Right, okay.
All games look like Final Fantasy or else it's dated.
Oh, okay.
Final Fantasy.
Okay. Soundtrack. A solid soundtrack. Oh, dude, you would not have
No, you're wrong. Final Fantasy.
Well, see, they wouldn't have gotten away with it because Motoi Sokuraba was part of the soundtrack. If they had said it was bad, they'd have been in trouble. Probably in trouble anyway. A solid soundtrack and capable voice performances enhance the experience. Playability. This game is more complex than past entries. I disagree. Well, grid system, not so much. While the extra depth is a welcome change, this entry isn't accessible due to archaic elements like save points and constant backtracking. What? Wait, hold on. This entry isn't as accessible due to archaic elements like save points. Think about that for a moment. What? Again, this entry isn't accessible due to archaic elements like save points.
Because it doesn't automatically save every
checkpoint.
Every step.
I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, oh, that's because in every other game there's checkpoints. Oh. And constant backtracking. Yeah, because there's no other game that does Assassin's Creed that does backtracking. God forbid a game have backtracking. Entertainment. Tales of Zestiria has some good ideas, but the experience is underwhelming and disappointing. Replay value? Low. So despite there being a new game plus with a lot of other options, replay value is low. Okay, that's just the quips. Now here's the full-on review, and trust me, it's in the first couple of sentences that it already insulted G. The Tales franchise has seen its ups and downs through the years, but Tales of Zestiria is the most disappointing entry in the long-running series since 2006's Tales of Legendia. Zestiria has flickers of greatness, such as a cool battle system, and a more mature story. Not totally. But they're wasted on frustrating, inexcusable gameplay mechanics. To put it bluntly, the entry feels dated. It makes you suffer through backtracking. Why is that such an issue? Like, when did backtracking, whatever. Backtracking. I love this. It makes you suffer through long-winded battles and boring dialogue. Zestiria is supposed to be a return to form. Who said? It's supposed to be a return to form. Okay, who said that? Finally, taking the series back to a medieval setting. The change makes it feel different than Xilia's futuristic focus, having references to the King Arthur legend and battles with monsters right out of Greek mythology. I like this shift, as it made me look forward to who or what would show up next in the story. The overall plot has some interesting twists, but ultimately comes off more predictable and hackneyed than exciting. Predictable is not the right word. I mean, I guess, in a form, but honestly, in today's day and age, what story hasn't been told?
Yeah, I think that's true.
Like, what story hasn't been told? Like, you can throw little twists and monkey wrenches into the cogs of storytelling to give, like, an interesting, oh, what a twist moment. But overall, you've heard every story before. Like, being original is insanely difficult to do. And it's not a bad thing just because you aren't entirely, because you can tell the same story but put a new spin on it and still be just as good. You play as Saray, a human raised by Seraphim who must unite the human and spirit worlds to prevent catastrophe. Aside from an assassin, Rose, and an outlaw, Dezel's intriguing partnership, the characters are vanilla, rarely saying anything compelling. I would only agree with that on a couple characters, honestly. At least the ensemble isn't as annoying as previous exuberant casts. The cliched writing, which the series has struggled with, is also toned down. Again, depending on who you ask. Zestiria takes the fun action battle system in new directions, thanks to the focus on elemental attacks, as in past entries. 4 characters can take to the battlefield at once, but since Saray has formed packs with 4 different seraphim tied to the basic elements, fire, water, earth, wind, they can help in battle in interesting ways. Seraphim can either fight as regular party members using their elemental magic, or merge with human characters to combine HP and unleash powerful combos. This adds variety to battle, giving you more options for your strategy. On one hand, maximizing your combos are key to increasing your damage. On the other hand, if Saray ever gets close to death, you can transform with a Seraphim to get a nice HP boost and restore your health. Battles are about using 2 different forms intelligently and ensuring you take advantage of elemental weaknesses. Excuse me. Even in Saray's human form, his different archetypes can cancel out enemy attacks, forcing you to constantly pay attention on the battlefield. I love this new wrinkle in the battle system, but it has drawbacks. Movement feels restricted. I'm sorry, you lost me there. How? You want to elaborate on that one? And regular battles aren't fast-paced. Alright, now that's wrong. I have ended battles in seconds.
Okay.
Like, I have ended battles, like, near to the point of, like, when I get into them. And again, it's all depending on how you play. So, I don't agree with that one. Again, his opinion. And regular battles are fun. Bosses often have huge health bars, and the encounters feel like you're just chipping away at them rather than having an exciting conflict. And honestly, I think that comes down to how you're playing it.
Wouldn't that be exciting?
I know, like, that's kind of the point. It's a boss. It's supposed to have a huge health bar. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to mow through it. You can, but not with ease. You'd have to be pretty high level to mow through them. And again, depending on if you're taking advantage of their weaknesses or any openings, you should be able to kind of juggle them. Fights are especially long if you can't maintain a rhythm for combos with your party members. Your AI cohorts aren't awful, but you can't strategize with them except for a few simple commands. I recommend setting strategies for each character as soon as possible, although being in the same room with someone makes syncing up your attacks is much easier. So co-op is an even better choice. I agree. The longer encounters take a greater toll due to the terrible dungeons full of annoying busywork. No, sir, the busywork comes from the grid. The dungeons are, save for the puzzle-based ones, pretty mindless. It's just kind of running through floor after floor, but by the time it gets annoying, the dungeon's over. In these uncreative backdrops, you backtrack often and have some ridiculous demands. One dungeon has hidden eyes in the walls, and if you don't use a protective bubble at the right time, you're transported back to the beginning. How's that for obnoxious time sink? Clearly, this man has never played the Water Temple in the Ocarina of Time. And that game still got acclaimed. Because nothing to me was more of a time sink than having to pause the game over and over again just to equip the damn iron boots and take them off. So yeah, this was not that bad. It was puzzles. Like, you had to think. Some dungeons offer a little direction, forcing you to pick up on cryptic clues, like hidden markings. Also, be prepared for plenty of tedious switch puzzles. To add insult to injury, at times your objective is unclear. Zestiria, like Xillia, puts a star on the map guiding you to your next location, but not for everything. Sometimes you're merely given vague clues on how to move forward. This doesn't even factor in the frustration that you must pay using the... This I didn't get. But not for everything. Sometimes you're merely given vague clues on how to move forward. Yet he doesn't mention that you can talk to your ally that will give you even more clues. They'll even give you like a location of interest. Like, because yeah, you can hold down R1 or L1 and it gives you that star saying that this is what you should be doing right now.
Right.
But if you still aren't clued in, you can talk to your allied partner about the topic at hand, and if they don't flat out tell you where to go, like Rose or something, she might comment like saying like, yeah, this guy seems to be interesting. We might be able to find information in Pendrago. Like, or just the topic itself says something Pendrago, and then Rose comments about it. Okay. So yeah, I've never, even when I wasn't sure what to do, I immediately found out, oh, I must have to do something there. Failed to mention that. Let's see, like, sometimes you're merely given vague clues on how to move forward. This doesn't even factor in the frustration that you must pay using the in-game currency to fast travel. What? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that true? Because I never noticed.
Really?
No, because you can fast travel all the time. Not once did I notice my currency going down for it. Maybe? But if it does, it must be very inexpensive because I sure as hell never noticed.
Never noticed it?
No, I was just like, oh, save point, fast travel. I did it all the freaking time. It's whatever. Oh, this is wrong. And that you can't save everywhere. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can?
There's a quick save.
Really?
Pause the game, quick save. You can save anywhere you want. I've done it. I do it.
You do it?
Yes, I do it all the time. If there's not a save point around and you see a big boss or an event before you, pause the game, quick save. Saves just like that. So, that is wrong. Tales of Zestiria feels like a game from another time, and not in the charming way. It forces you through some of the most boring and outdated elements from RPGs of yesteryear. If the series wants to stay relevant, it needs to be more like Assassin's Creed.
That was it?
No.
Okay.
It needs to put forth a better effort. Okay. Now, I agree on some points. Better effort, sure. But, like, I had a conversation the other day. Like, it feels like an experiment of a new era, which, in a sense, is not the first time. Destiny and Fantasia felt like experiments to get on their feet, and then we got Eternity out of it, because they reaped the goods out of their experimenting. Tales of Symphonia was their experiment for the 3D era, and then after that, with a few more steps, we eventually got Abyss and Vesperia out of it. Really good games. So yeah, it's no doubt that as the platforms go on, they're experimenting to see what more they can do.
Right.
And of course, some ideas stick and some don't. But, yeah, there are differences of opinions here. So, yeah. Bad enough they had to add insult to injury by insulting your second favorite Tales game.
Well, this whole thing got started when I went to GameStop to renew my Power-Ups card. And the thing about Game Informer is that Game Informer actually was bought by GameStop. That just lets you know right there what this kind of magazine is. I don't pay attention to Game Informer other than Like the previews of some games coming up. Those are cool. I like the preview section where they talk about games that are coming up. But yeah, the review section I don't really pay too much attention to because yeah, it's really kind of skewed. Um, yeah, well, I've kind of looked up the thing though. The funny thing is, you went kind of on this rant on the Zestria review here, but it just seems like a lot of people would agree with this review because I've been looking up Metacritic and it's pretty much gotten mixed reviews, pretty much right down the board. There's people who love it, people who don't care about it, and people who really don't like it.
And of course, in the Tales community, every game, you're kind of torn.
It's definitely a game that has amassed its critics, and so I don't know. I guess like I said, it was their experiment. I guess for some people it worked, and for others it didn't.
Yeah.
I just find it funny how the first thing they say right off the bat is how this is the worst Tales game since Legendia. And then we just recently got a comment talking about how bad Legendia was on our channel. I'm like, Legendia is my second favorite Tales game. And I will stand by that game, and I will go to war for that game against anyone. So I don't care. I mean,
I really have no stance on it.
Yeah.
But I did find that funny.
It's the only. Well, yeah, you would find it funny. I mean, if they were Sultan and Eternia, you wouldn't find it so funny.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't think you would either.
So, like I say, it's the only Tales game that I've beaten that Will hasn't. So I spent a lot of hours on that game, and I really do enjoy the characters and all of it. So I know Legendia has its critics. That's fine. You can criticize all you want. I will always love that game, and I always will. I can refuse it at any time and have fun with it.
Revisit it.
Whatever. And yeah, it's all based on opinion, really. I mean,
okay, yeah, Zestiria. That has been the most. I gotta say, Tales of Zestiria has got to be the most controversial Tales game that I've ever had the witness of seeing. If it's not mixed reviews based on people who may or may not be into JRPGs, it's being torn between fans because it wasn't their favorite Tales game or so on and such. But of course, it also had to do with, apparently over in Japan, I guess it got really bad in Japan, how they really just didn't like... They didn't like how the character of Alicia was probably being portrayed. It could also be tied into the marketing. How apparently Alicia was marketed as some big main character for the duration of the game. Turns out that's not the case. Pretty much they pulled a Metal Gear Solid 2. Mm-hmm. Same as Hideo Kojima. Yeah, because that turns out well, right? So, yeah, now, the reason why I mention this is because, honestly, the character was not treated as badly, because remember back when we did a podcast talking about her months ago and how we thought that the character was being treated horribly?
Yeah.
Well, based on my experience in the game, that's really not the case. She's not treated well, but it's not by the main characters that this is happening. It's really because of her inexperience as a princess and being part of political issues. Because in the game, spoilers, there is currently a war that wants to break out.
Okay.
And she's trying to do her best as a princess of nobility to do everything she can in the politics to prevent this from happening. Meanwhile, she's got people in the politics that want to do just that. They want to have a war. And she's inexperienced. She doesn't really know how to go through this well. She makes mistakes. She makes bad calls. There's a scenario in the game where she allegedly confronts people who she thinks are going against the kingdom. Turns out they're not. But she falsely accuses them for evidence that she believed was correct, and she kind of got in trouble for it. And reasonably so. She made a mistake, and she owned up to it. It's not like she was trying to defend herself in the terms of, I'm a princess and nobody. No! In fact, I give the game a lot of credit on the grounds that while she was with you at first, at the beginning, she stuck with you for a little bit to handle some stuff. But when push came to shove, and it was time for her to go to work, she couldn't just willy-nilly put off nobility and the life that a princess or possible future queen has to have and just be like, I'm going to go on adventures with these guys. I give the game a lot of credit that she had to stay behind and do her job and rule the kingdom. or at least take part in it. Because not many other princess stories do that. And what's really cool is that it actually shows her struggle with it. Like, periodically you can go back and check on her. And then, of course, in the middle of the third act, she finally kind of starts breaking down as, like, the responsibility is too much. Like, she's failing badly. Like, war is on the brink of coming out, and it feels like nobody really trusts her. So it's really impressive. Like, despite her not being in your party much, she's really kind of in it the same way that Flynn was in Vesperia. So, yeah, I really don't see why this character got so much flack. And on top of that, she has her own DLC story, which is for free. And now, the other reason why I bring this up is because apparently they've been giving the producer Hideo Baba a lot of flack for this. Like, so much so that I guess there are some dedicated fans that want him removed because of this. Like, he is just making bad decisions. Like, come on, guys, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, because you can do better.
Like, it takes more than one person to make these games, okay? I mean, I know that a producer can have...
Yeah, it's the common thinking. Yeah, we'll get rid of this person, and suddenly everything magically will be better now.
Like, that's not how it works. Like,
oh, of course, in their minds it does.
Yeah, because, I mean, let's face it. If it wasn't for this guy and probably others, like, overseas, we probably would still be in the dark ages of Tales games, not getting any of them.
Right.
So let's be a little generous here and say that it's not that bad, all right?
Right.
I mean, he was willing to work with us to give us a DLC story for Alicia, so it's not... Come on, guys. It's not the first time a character hasn't been in a party.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got a PS3 version where Flynn periodically comes and goes. You got Tales of Eternia where characters come and go. Keel leaves the party for a while and comes back occasionally.
Right.
like Ras leaves, and then, like, so come the hell on. This is nothing new. I mean, it's storytelling, for God's sake. I mean, that's how you tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think this whole Alicia thing has been blown completely out of proportion. People are taking it way too seriously. Like, it's really not a big deal. At all.
At least not that's what's being...
Not that's what's being advertised. No.
Right.
Like, I can somewhat agree on the advertising for the game, showcasing her as a major plot point. And to a degree she is. She's not much of a playable one. Not much. But she has a DLC storyline. But yeah, it's not entirely false advertising. I mean, she is a key aspect of the story in terms of she's nobility, she has a job to do, and she's inexperienced. So, yeah. Like, is Tales of Zestiria a bad game? No. Is it a great game? No. It depends on who you ask.
It's a mixed bag.
Yeah, it is. And it's not even a mixed bag of good and negative equally. Like, it's got a far more good than bad.
Right.
More than, I mean, about the same amount as other previous games. Because, come on, I know fans who absolutely hated the Xillia games.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Because of their linearity and other arbitrary reasons. So, let's not pretend that Tales of Zestiria is the out one. Like,
I think that for a lot of people, what it comes down to is that they're not going to like whatever comes out. Either, like, it just seems like for some people, like, anything new is bad. And anything new comes out is going to be criticized and overly critical. And, because let's not pretend that every game that came out in the Tales, like all the old games from the Tales series were all perfect. They all had their issues. Some more than others, but I just think some people are just looking to be upset just for the sake of being upset. Not all. Now, there are people do have rational,
rational opinions. Now, I'm not saying
fine.
If you don't like Tales of Zestiria because you have,
and I'm not saying that
reasons.
Zestiria, the review of Game Informer, is necessarily bad or wrong. It's just that we just have to take issue with some of the things that they say. It's just a matter of opinion, but. I don't know. Just in our view, we just see a lot of the things that this person talks about as being kind of. If not, okay. The whole archaic thing like save points is kind of dumb.
Yeah, like their arguments are obtuse.
Mm-hmm.
and some of them are flat out wrong. Yeah, like, and I guess it's no secret that Game Informer, when it comes to their reviews or anything, Game Informer is looked on as a big joke.
Yeah.
Like, no, Game Informer is
Well,
kind of
like
notorious.
I said, it's an advertisement tool. I mean, it's owned by GameStop, so what, are you really supposed to take it seriously? No.
No. Yeah, so it's we're not trying to overly defend Tales of Zestiria as if it was the best Tales game ever. Not necessarily the case. But we are defending
I
it.
remember one time, sorry to interrupt you, but I remember one time we went to a GameStop and we were talking about Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and one guy looked at us and said, well, IGN gave it like a 9 out of 10. We just looked at him.
I'm like, oh, dude.
Oh, we didn't even say anything. We just got looked at him like, and that's supposed to mean something?
Yeah, you can't spell ignorant without IGN.
Right.
I'm like, oh, dude, for real?
Right.
Like, you're going to IGN as your source of, oh, this game is great now. I gotta get it now.
Right.
Like, because IGN's never made bad calls. Silent Hill, the collector's... oh my god.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yeah,
That
the Silent Hill, what is it? Like, HD remastered
I'm
collection.
done listening to you. But yeah, go on about what you were saying.
So yeah, again, we're not overly defending Zestiria as if it's the best. However, we are defending it in the right that it is getting unfairly like criticized for things that really was no different than other Tales games. Really, like it takes things in its own direction. But let's not pretend that we haven't seen these things before. Like, oh my god, a party member that's not really a party member doesn't come back. Yeah, because that's new. Save points? What the what? Save points? No! Bad game! No! My game should save automatically for me! No! Long-winded battles? No! I don't want long-winded battles! Like, dungeons? No! And that's pretty much all what it comes down to. It's like, just very, very weird things. So all I want is everybody needs to stop being so angry. Stop fighting. It's just a game.
Anyway.
So yeah, Alicia, not a bad character, blown out of proportion. Tales of Zestiria, take it as you will.
Leave Legendia alone.
Leave Legendia alone. Leave Legendia alone! Your opinion on the game is yours. If you don't like it, that's fine. Hopefully it's for better reasons. Hopefully it's not because they have save points.